The Nike Zoom Kobe 5 Protro Reimagined gets a performance review right now. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we got a performance review on these bad girls right here. This is the Nike Sabrina 2. Yes, they look like a copycat of the Kobe 5s. Is that a bad thing? It depends on your perspective. When we're talking about offering something new to the market, yes, that's a bad thing because this is rehashed. Do they perform well though, which is what a lot of people that are buying these are into? Yes, these things are beasts. They're awesome. So again, depends on your perspective. However, before we get started, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. The good folks over at Serious Player only wanted us to remind you guys that they have a brand new model available, and it's dubbed the Ranger. Now this beefcake of a shoe has a ton of stuff to offer. They have a tire tread inspired traction pattern, and yes, this is good enough for indoors or outdoors. They have an EVA midsole carrier, and it even extends on the lateral end and acts as a giant outrigger. Inside of that, they come equipped with their best cushioning system, which is this guy right here. This is the explosive drop-in. However, if you don't like this, the shoe is 100% compatible with everything that they've offered before, and again, these are also available if you wanted to buy them separately. Genuine suede is used along the upper, and the design itself is supposed to lend itself well to on and off-court use. And these guys are actually selling out really fast, so if you wanted to grab a pair, I'd suggest doing it now. Links are down below in the description box. However, if this colorway might not be your cup of tea, stay tuned. More stuff is coming soon.
Excellent.
Now the traction here is fantastic, and I wouldn't expect anything less. I mean, when you look at it, it just looks amazing. Herringbone for the win. Not only that, it's placed in different variations in different directions. So even though herringbone in and of itself is a multi-directional pattern just in its own nature, it's done up in a way that it's really covering you from all instances. So the majority is that enlarged herringbone. It works good on damn near every surface I took them on in any condition. And then that line that you see through the middle, while being a carried over feature from the Sabrina 1, it's just a thinner and more aggressive style of herringbone. If you're doing a harsh one step or step back and then you're pulling back for a jumper or whatever it is that you're looking for, you know, if you're a floor general, you're just kind of like trying to create space, that thing is going to cover you really well. And then in the heel, we have radial pattern, and that's the only area that I ever had to slip, and it was only on my very first wear. And I believe it's because oftentimes there are some I don't know what you would call it, but there's like almost like a lubricant. That way they can easily remove the rubber from the molds that they make them in. And it felt like that was on the heel of, I think it was this one, I can't even remember, but I almost ate real quick. I was playing good defense finally. But again, it only happened the one time. Ever since then, it feels like whatever that film was that was covering the outsoles is completely gone. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And on top of that, I've been playing in this one, the solid rubber version, outdoors. While I don't have a lot of good B-roll, I apologize. Usually when we go to the gym, I get there really early, and it's because I'm so old. I need like at least an hour just to get my body to warm up a little bit, but there's nobody there yet. So yeah, there was nobody to play at the moment. And then outdoors, I just don't have a lot of time to bring the camera out there. On top of that, it's been hot. Anyways, I've been using this pair outdoors, the solid rubber option, just because the clear rubber right here, it would just burn through so fast. I will say though, this right here is my indoor pair, and as you can see, everything is still good. Nothing's really fraying or anything like that. And then around the perimeter, you can see that S pattern. Now, when you look at my outdoor pair, that gone first off, and then on top of that, like this zone right here, my toe area, the herringbone is already getting ground off. You can see that right here as well. And then if you really zoom in, you can get all that fraying that's starting to happen and everything like that. So the overall performance outdoors is excellent. The longevity or the durability of the product, not so much. So yeah, I would primarily stick with this as an indoor shoe. If you were looking for an outdoor option, that solid rubber version is going to be good. You can also check overseas retailers like ID for Shoes over on eBay. They sell the overseas versions that feature XDR rubber, so that'll last you just a little bit longer. And if you happen to have an old pair of Sabrina 1s, this is something that I would probably take outdoors most often, mostly because one, it's my old shoe, so I don't care about it as much as something like this. This is my new indoor shoe, but the rubber here is also just a little bit thicker than what's used on these guys. Now the cushion is definitely different, but very similar to the Sabrina 1. The Sabrina 1 had a React midsole with a 4-foot Zoom Air unit, one of those bad boys. Whereas the Sabrina 2 has a dual density midsole setup, so you have a carrier foam on the outside that's a little bit more structured, a little bit more dense. And then on the inside, you have Cushlon 3.0. It's their newest version or iteration of Cushlon. Cushlon's more of a rubber-based foam, so it has a little bit more resiliency, a little bit more spring or bounce back. And then in the forefoot, you still have one of those bad boys. Now, I will say that as an outdoor option, I don't think that's quite enough cushion for most people unless you got like fresh legs or young knees. So some people might need a little bit more than what these guys offer, but it's adequate enough. It stays lightweight, extra breathable on top of that, so there's a plus there. Whereas indoors, these guys kind of feel like they're dead to me, like they don't really react to anything. I don't think that the carrier foam allows the internal foam to really move, and then the zoom unit being housed in there for whatever reason just doesn't allow it to be moved either. So while in motion, all I really feel is that the shoe is extremely lightweight, but I don't feel any snappiness underfoot or any bounce back, any plush, which is different than last year's model. This one right here definitely felt plush, especially from heel to forefoot while in transition. That was actually one of the best basketball shoes last year. And while I will say that this is one of Nike's best basketball shoes this year, the cushion just kind of feels like a slight step back if you're talking about pure like overall feel. Again, in terms of performance, if you're looking for court feel, ultimate stability, all that kind of good stuff, these guys are where it's at. But if you're looking for a ton of cushion, this is not going to be that shoe. This one is. These are wild. Now the materials are where this, when we're comparing it, at least visually, to something like the Kobe 5, I will say that while the Kobe 5 was a lot more of a sturdy shoe, this one is just all textile everything. So as far as like that broken in feeling fresh out the box, you get that right away. And for some people, that's a huge plus. For others, they want something that's a little bit more substantial around their foot. So again, it really depends on what you're looking for in your basketball shoes. I will say that everything along the upper fit and secured my foot with my gameplay just fine. I play really well in these, by the way. Like, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything. I'm not like a fantastic basketball player or anything like that, but I'm pretty good. And for whatever reason, it's kind of like when I play in Curry's, like something about these like makes my foot feel so stable and secure, both under and around, that I don't even realize I'm wearing anything. I'm just out there, I'm playing, I don't think about shit.
It's beautiful.
That's one of the biggest draws to something like this, is that once they're on, you forget about it. That's a great shoe right there. Now, as far as the materials being what they are, being textile, being all of this soft stuff, they're not gonna be as durable. For whatever reason, my internal of this indoor version that I've been using, or the pair that I've been playing in indoors, all of the insides, it's like starting to wrinkle and pull away from the padding or something. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Has not happened to the pair that I play in outdoors. Did not happen in my first original Sabrina 1s, and it didn't happen in my original Kobe 5s either. So I'm hoping that this is just an isolated issue. I'm hoping that it's just my shoe. It did happen to both the left and the right, so maybe it won't be an isolated issue. All I know is that that's the one thing where I'm like, crap, am I gonna wear the insides of the shoe out before I wear out the outsides? Now, in terms of fit, I would go true to size for most. If you have a super narrow foot, you might want to consider going down half a size. They might be just a titch long for you if that's the case. They have a very weird shape though, so for normal footers or for wide footers, I would not recommend going down half a size. You're gonna push your toes into this weird like pointed shape. So if you go down half a size as a wide footer or a normal footer, you're going to crush your toes in a way that is probably gonna be uncomfortable and possibly kind of increase the risk of like deforming your foot and everything. It's like a bunion waiting to happen. But for most, true to size is going to be good to go. That's what I went with, and I wouldn't change that for anything. I, again, play really well in these. They fit me perfectly. It's just a beast of a shoe. Now, as far as support goes, that's where some of the features could be beefed up a little bit, most notably the shank area or the torsion area. So as you can see, there's nothing visually there on the bottom. I believe there's just a small torsion plate or shank inside the shoe, like one of those little rectangle things. And even then, you can still twist the shoe quite a bit. So when your foot's in there, it will do that as well. It's not to the point to where they're unsafe to play in. It's just one of those things where that's the one area that I would definitely increase its potential. Like there's so much extra potential there that it's just like untapped. It's damn near non-existent. Oh man, my midsole's coming off. Like I said, they're not the most durable, but man, are they good. You do have a fairly wide base in the forefoot. You also have an extended outrigger here. So stability in that forefoot area is amazing. And then right underneath the soft materials on the midfoot section of the shoe, you have a couple of lockdown flaps with fly wire built onto there. And those are down into the footbed area. So those clamp up your midfoot really well. So when we're talking about over twisting, it's those things that are keeping you on the footbed that make it not so dangerous to play in. And then you do have an internal heel counter. It works well. I might be seeing it soon with the material just coming off and everything, but it's there. Now, with all that being said, what do we have for today's question of the day?
What makes you guys happy?
Like in general?
Yeah.
My kids, my family, you guys? Not you guys. Well, you guys too, but like, you know, you and my people. There's so few of you. So yeah, my circle is very tiny. Extra comic books, action figures, sneakers, basketball, the normal things, I guess, your hobbies. But yeah, outside of that though, like it's just the people that I'm around most of the day. Like if I'm having a bad day, one of those people picks me up. How about you?
I decided not to be so sentimental.
I wasn't sentimental.
Yeah, you were.
I feel like sentimental's like my Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Like that's a sentimental thing.
I just decided to think of like what is something like really simple that makes me happy. And I am so basic that it would be coffee.
Your pumpkin spice.
Not, well, oh, that's such a special
that's
time
it.
of year.
That's it right there.
But no, just in general, like normally in the morning I get up first and I get our drinks. But sometimes if I happen to sleep in, you'll bring me up my cup of coffee and it's very special. If we're out and about and you go, hey babe, do you want to grab a coffee? I'm like instant like boost. Our daughter texting me being like, hey, can I pick you up a coffee? Yes, please.
I know, but the thing that you're ignoring is that it takes the person first and it's that act of kindness.
Yes, it makes it more special, but I mean, I make myself feel special then
If
August to whenever they run out of pumpkin spice.
If you go run around somewhere and some Joe Blow goes up to you and be like, hey, you want a free coffee? You'll probably be like, no. So it's the person.
Is this Joe Blow dressed in a Starbucks uniform?
No, because if he was, his name wouldn't be Joe Blow. He'd have a name tag. You'd know what it was. You know what I mean? He'd be Starbucks employee.
Yeah.
But or barista is what I think they're called. But I think it's people. I think people are the thing. Even introverted, isolated, lonely people need people. But with all that being said, sound off below and let us know what makes you happy. Is it basketball? Is it a brand new pair of sneakers? As long as they perform well. Is it a different hobby altogether, or is it your people? I think it's the people. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be people. But that pretty much takes care of it for the performance review on the Sabrina 2. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you so much for being here. We greatly appreciate your guys' time. If you haven't already, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe as well. That's one of our main things. We're very close to 900,000, which is very close to that million mark. I would love to reach it one day, so if you can help me out, that would be amazing. But we'll catch you guys on the next one. So until then, y'all have a good one.